Welcome everyone to another podcast of OptiMindX. This show is all about connecting with entrepreneurs, hearing their stories, and exploring how businesses is evolving in today's fast-changing world, especially with AI. Today, we're excited to welcome Nicole Bell. Nicole is an entrepreneur and operations strategist with a background in B2B business development, system design, and pricing strategy. She is a founder of Verherbals and a contract supplement manufacturing company where she has scaled high volume operations, built back-end systems, and drive efficiency and optimized price models to fuel both growth and retention. Nicole's specialty is simplifying complexity, taking big visions and translating them into efficient, scalable systems. Nicole, thank you for being here today and sharing your story with us on the OptiMindX podcast.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
For sure.
Thank you.
Nicole, could you take us back to the start of your entrepreneurial journey? What inspired you to create Verherbals?
Yeah, well, actually, we started really small. So my partner and I, we started the company 7 years ago. And we started with just little tiny farmers markets. We made these little topical salves and natural remedies. And we just went to our local markets, and that's really how we started. And then it just expanded from there, people asking us to make things for them. And, now we've grown it into a GMP-certified facility and solely co-manufacturing for other brands.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Starting with the community.
Yeah.
So you've been working in B2B development and operations strategy. What lessons from those early experiences shaped the way that you lead today?
Wow. Well, there's a lot of lessons, that's for sure. As I mentioned, we started with our own little products and we shifted to B2B. And it really was an organic shift. It was kind of the market needed us and people were asking us. And that part of the business just grew much quicker than the retail side. So starting from not having any experience in business and not really knowing what we were doing, like I said, there's just so many lessons. I feel that one major thing that we learned was, it's all about relationships. I mean, this is no matter what business you're in, but B2B, especially with our business, we're working so closely with the other brands. And so that relationship, it's about obviously taking care of the brand you're working with, but also respecting the boundaries of your own brand. I know in the beginning, we, gave too much is what I would say, because, we were trying to grow the business and we were, getting excited about, the growth and everything. And so having that balance of you need to take care of the people you work with because it's long-term relationships, and at the same time, you have to be firm in the success of your own business. So I think that's a really crucial component, at least for me, especially working B2B, because you work so closely with much less people than versus B2C.
Right. So on that note, you've scaled high volume operations, right? And what systems or strategies were critical for handling growth without breaking the back end, at least for you guys?
Yeah. So, in our industry, there's a couple things. So, one, we had to get the qualifications. So, yes, that is an upfront cost to get our GMP certification and organic certification, but this was really fundamental in order to work with larger brands. This is what they're looking for in order for them to be on, major shelves. So, that was one component. And then, kind of simultaneous and almost within the GMP certification, you have to have serious documentation and structure and systems in place. So really creating, I learned early on about that systems are kind of what make or break a business. I mean, there's other factors, but that it's not sometimes people think it's people or, they're isolating one component, but it's the systems that are in place. And so really streamlining how we produce, we put project management systems, production management systems in place to really, one, it helps with our relationship with the brands we work with. They know where they're at. They know where we at. Communication is like the major thing that all of the brands we work with, really love. So that makes your, the people we work with happy. And then also, the streamlining on the back end makes, costs go down. You're not using labor or machines or time more than what's necessary. So those were definitely very fundamental.
Okay. And since your specialty is simplifying complexity, can you share an example of where simplifying operations made a huge impact in your company?
Yeah. So, I guess I would say when we started, starting from nothing, originally we expanded our team. And I would say almost we went manual too much. And then there's a lot of complexities with everything being manual. It's managing the team, human error, having that many people working in one space, you need more quality control, you need more all of these things. And so what we did is we really just looked at, okay, how can we streamline our equipment to one, like especially in our industry, a lot of the tasks are mundane. They're repetitive, they're mundane, like it's kind of soul sucking for a person anyway in that role. So we streamline, and we're always doing this, streamlining our equipment to take those kind of roles over. And then that reduces our team but increases our efficiency, and obviously it costs and all as well. Like maybe there's an upfront cost from the machine, but within no time, it pays itself back. And you're not, the quality checks are easier, qualified, all of these things.
Okay. And on that note, how have you guys been able to drive your platform to get more qualified leads within all the processes and all the challenges, and then within the mundane and tasks that you guys have to do? What has been the process to just get you more qualified leads for the business?
Yeah, so we've tried a bunch of different ways. We've tried advertising, some specific platforms that kind of are like almost like a network for people to find manufacturers. And we've been to some expos, all of these things. These are kind of common in our industry. SEO, these things. So to be honest, what we have done, so there's a couple things we looked at. Like we are niche. Like we manufacture liquid supplements. A
Mhm.
lot of supplement manufacturers do everything, and a lot of people are doing the same thing. So it's very hard to compete. You're making capsules and you're making the exact same capsule as like 30 other manufacturers. Essentially, they're like competing for a dollar, cents, and that's very hard to make money and be sustainable. And so we kind of were in this place of like, do we expand into other capsules, powders, these things? And we decided to stick with our niche. And that I would say really helps actually, because it's like, this is what we do, this is what we do best. And so, it makes like the people that find us, it's very clear what we offer. And so the match is usually a lot higher, And then as far as getting the leads besides that, to be honest, what we found most successful is actually we've really focused on our SEO, because organic search, the conversion is higher. They're specifically looking for you. So SEO has actually been our highest success. We are on a platform called Thomas Net, which is where brands can find supplement manufacturers. And those two things have actually been our highest success over ads and expos.
Okay. So in the current moment today, like now, what would be your three struggles? Like you would say three things that maybe are struggle in the business that you're in as of today's world, and how AI has like driven everything. So if you can talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So as I mentioned, the cost thing in manufacturing and in manufacturing, making sure that you're making enough profit to sustain. This is a constant struggle, I think, in all of the industry. So that would be one, is really making sure that profit margin is something that can actually sustain the business. That would be one. And then, you mentioned AI. It's funny because we actually use AI with our SEO work that we do. I think that I almost look at it as a positive, to be honest. There's so many ways that AI help our business. Like we're looking at robots, like AI robots and AI in our marketing and all of these things. I think the struggle on side of it would be making sure that you're keeping up.
Mm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because if you don't keep up, people surpass you in no time,
Right.
Yeah. So that would be one. And then the last thing, I mean, I kind of already touched on this, but it's really just standing out. How are you different? I think a lot of, especially people who start businesses without knowing anything, myself included, you feel like you want to reach everyone. And it can be so easy to want to like hop on the fads or like do what everyone else is doing. And we did this a few times and it actually hurt our business because it was like, then people are like, well, you know, why are you different? And that is what people are really looking for. Brands that we work with, they want to stand out. So, um, I would say that can be a problem is when people are trying to just reach too wide of an audience.
Absolutely. And that being said, I love this question a lot. If you were to start again today, what would be your first foot forward that'd be different from what you did then? I know it's different. Today we have AI, hence our conversation, but what would be different for you?
I would do a lot differently. If I was starting this business today, instead of starting everything from scratch and doing everything on our own, it was an amazing lessons, and we learned so much about business. So I would never like go back and do it differently because I wouldn't have gained what I gained. But today I would if I didn't have the funding, I would get the funding to hire the professionals where it's necessary and to be able to implement the technologies right off the bat. And then I would put way more of a focus than we did at the beginning on the marketing side of things.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, in regards to marketing, kind of veering into pricing strategy is often overlooked, and you've kind of touched a little bit base on what the back end is, right? And how you've modified over time. It's overlooked sometimes by founders. So, what have you learned about designing price models that drive both growth and retention for you guys?
Yeah. So, like you said, I've covered kind of components of it. And so that profit margin has to, you have to have that. And so what does that require? So, you know, because it's like you can't make the price at a profit margin where that then your brand can't sell the product. It can't be so high that it's not can't sell on the market.
Right.
So, we are constantly looking at, because we do custom manufacturing mainly. So we're constantly looking like, okay, what is the general price for this product on the market, to get a sense of like, if this price for us to make it is just astronomically high, what is causing that? Is it like, we've increased our MOQs, our minimum order quantity. And one of the reasons for this is to get the price at a point that makes sense. So there's so many factors, but the machinery being efficient, that brings price down, right? The higher MOQ for us personally is because less cleaning time, you're running one product at a time, all of the changeover factors, all of these things. And then also getting that price to a point that is very competitive for our for the brands that we work with. So all of these things have to be factored into place. And something that we have done, if, let's say our profit margin is not where we want it to be, we may still take the product on at a price that makes sense for the person if the avenue to get that price where we're making, enough to sustain is pretty simple. As in like, okay, maybe we just need to add this piece of equipment this is going to actually make the speed double, for example. So then that's probably going to bring the cost not double, or not half, but close to that. So all of these factors are put into place.
Okay. I have another question in regards to structuring prices with your clients. Do you ever, I know you said that your MOQ is something that you shifted, and as well as, is there an approach of creative, like financing with your clients? Like, let's say they'll have like, you get a 5% ROI based off what is being sold, or is that something in a different approach that you've taken on? Is that something that you've veered away from?
Yeah, I mean, as far as pricing and our, things that we've done, I mean, the things that we really offer, not like ROI, but we do R&D since it's custom manufacturing. So like if that there is an R&D fee, but if they produce the product, that gets waived, right? So this is a factor. Or, when we work with companies we just have to build a relationship, maybe 3 to 6 months. We will offer better, net terms. This is something in our industry because, for us, obviously, we're upfronting the cost to produce, but they are also upfronting the cost because by the time it's done being produced, then they still have to sell it. So this is something that we do to work with the brands.
Heard that. Okay. And now with AI changing how businesses operate, market, and make decisions, you've discussed a little bit of how AI is playing a role in your operations as well as in pricing. It's really taking a shift. What is a key point? Is it marketing the key point? Is it the hands-on manual labor? What would be the nail in the wall that you say this is where AI has touched base the most?
So far, I would actually say it's more on an operational level. We are using AI for our like production management. And
Okay.
also our team has like built their own GPTs. So essentially it's like assistance for operations, regulations. So these are the key things that we are using up to this point that I would say have been, I mean, it's incredible the amount of efficiency just these things have been put into place. I would say in the near future, it would be more on the production line using AI. That would be the next step.
Hence robotics, what you kind of touch base on. So
Yeah, there's a lot of ways, but robotics would be the main one, yeah.
you guys have a brick and mortar, correct, in states?
We don't sell products, but our manufacturing facility is in
You
the
okay.
States, yeah.
Okay. I just want to touch base, just make sure we've run through everything we want to talk about. Okay. If that being said, like integrating AI into Verherbals and the consulting work that you guys do, I think you kind of hit on the ball. The biggest benefits would be just really going ahead and streamlining the back end operations, and as well as then the other side where you're dealing with your B2B clients that you're going to be handling. So it's just those are the two ends that AI integration really has helped you guys. And you're looking to in the next steps integrate, right?
Yeah. I mean, we're using it in smaller ways in like the lead generation. There are some platforms and things to kind of reach out to brands that we might want to work with or connect with them or research them. So we do use that as well. But yeah, as far as what I look at is like efficiency and streamlining what we're doing, the main thing is what you mentioned.
Okay.
Nice.
Nice. I really appreciate the time that you've taken to talk with us and chat with us and share all your background in the work that you do. I would say my final question, and I'm always intrigued, what really drove you to start off at a farmer's market with your partner and, sell this? What was the initial first thought when you guys did this?
Yeah, so the initial thought was two things. So one was we really just wanted to, I guess, be entrepreneurs, to run our own business, create our own finances, be financially free. So that was one big component. And then the other component was we we still wanted to make a business that helped people.
Right.
So, as we started with natural products and we do make all sorts of liquid supplements, vitamins, minerals, all of these things. We also do herbal extracts. I mentioned we have organic certification. So, always holding that component of like it's still, having the balance of like finances, financially free, and also still helping people. So,
Right. And that being said, on the helping people note, what was the biggest like pull in for you guys with the natural herbs and why that route? Because it's such a vast network
Yeah.
that you could play in, and why specifically in this one?
Yeah. So, originally, we actually started in the hemp industry,
Okay.
and we, for years, have been into like natural remedies. I used to teach yoga, meditation, so all the natural wellness and things. This was a big component of our life. And when we looked at that time, the hemp industry, a lot of it was not good. It was really highly processed. Everything was packaged in lots of plastic, and there was really weird chemicals in a lot of it. So we ourselves wanted to use products that were better than that. And so it really just sparked us to want to make completely natural, nothing weird in it products. And that is the majority of what we create is products that don't have fillers or synthetics. One of the things we specialize in now is, we make a lot of liquid tinctures or extracts and these kinds of things. And the kind of stigma around those is that they taste terrible. And so we've also, we definitely specialize in quality, but also in creating flavors and stuff that's actually enjoyable to taste, but is not weird chemicals or anything like this. So we're always looking at like, how can we continue to make all the products better, make it enjoyable to take, but keep that quality. And I still see in the supplement industry, there's a lot of stuff that's just either has strange chemicals in it or it's so highly processed that there's no real test for this, but because it'll still show up, like let's say someone extracts ashwagandha with a really high process, into a powder extract. You can test for the ashwagandha at the end, but it's how much of it is actually your body can absorb, how much of it is even effective at that point. So this is still like a passion to this day. Yeah.
I think that really ties into your self-preservation that you touch base on at the beginning. There's like a wholesome theme of like self-preservation in the work as well as in the product. I did want to ask you, for those, including ourselves, who aren't familiar with these certifications that you had to acquire to be able to sustain yourself in this market, could you share what they are, what they mean, what they are good for?
Yeah. So organic certification is the USDA organic. So essentially, anyone who co-manufactures with us, as long as we're packaging it to its completion, they can essentially use our organic certification for their product. So all, the materials are USDA organic certified, and we have to go through testing every year and audit not testing is every product, every batch, but the audit is every year. And then GMP is good manufacturing practices. So the supplement industry, a common misconception from people who are not in it, think that the FDA approves supplements. They do not approve supplements, but they do regulate supplements. And so there is a document called, and essentially it has all the regulations with which manufacturing facilities have to follow. GMP is a third party, and there's multiple certifying bodies that can give you the GMP certification that essentially confirms that you are. So essentially it's the cleanliness of your facility, the documentation you're keeping, the maintenance. We track every single batch. There's lots of third-party testing that we have to do to ensure that the product is what we say it is, and also that it doesn't have contaminants and these kinds of things. Potency for stuff that is like mineral, vitamin content. And again, we do testing all the time, pretty much every batch. And then we do get audited once a year as well. So they come and verify that we're doing all of those things and everything's kept up to the highest standards.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
And my last question for you is, it takes a village, it takes a team, it takes AI, it takes a little bit of everything today. And when you are expanding your network and building your team, what are the qualities that you look for?
Yeah. So, on that note, like I said, my husband and I started this company. Um, that it's better to be the dumbest person in the room. And so we always are looking at who is an expert in that area. So if it's an operations person, if it's a R&D manager, if it's the production manager, if it's a sales rep, whatever it is, like really hiring the best in their field so that we can go to them and say, look, you tell us, you know, what we should be doing best. And yeah, so as far as like our team that work with us, that's really what we're looking for. I guess another component on that would be that the brands we work with, because I also consider them part of our team, because without them, obviously, we would have no business. And, you know, kind of how I mentioned that we're a bit niche, you know, we don't try to fit in every company's box. So we are always looking at, you know, making sure that it is the right partnership and a product level, but also on a relationship level. You know, we have experienced over the years, you know, we got into having, you know, we had brand partners that my computer just did a weird thing. It like froze out of the whole Zoom. Okay. So, yeah, so we worked with their, you know, brands in the past, and on an ethical level, they didn't really align. And we kind of knew that in the beginning, and the partnerships always ended up not lasting for a long time. So, you know, we always actually, this is something that we actually focus on now, is working with companies that align with us in products, but also on like an ethical way of doing business. And those relationships are much more fruitful and everyone's a lot happier.
Absolutely. Yeah. When you're on the same frequency and on the same page, things make more sense and the connection is enforced. So absolutely resonating with what you're sharing. So Nicole, thank you so much again for joining us for a podcast that sharing your experiences, your endeavors. We with OptiMindX, we work with founders of business and we send you guys just recommendations and things that we think would be fruitful after hearing your experience and what your workload looks like. And that's just strictly on us, that we just send you something for a thank you for taking the time to sit with us today. In regards to the media, it should take 2 weeks and we'll have it out to you, and you know, you check it out. You can use it at your you know, at your own pace, whatever feels good. And again, thank you so much for your time, Nicole. It was seriously a pleasure and a fun learning curve to learn about how you run your business.
Yeah. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Nicole. Appreciate it.
Yeah. So like, did you two start this?
Yeah. Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we just started. It's been months in the making, and like we want to learn as much from you guys and the entrepreneurs that we're getting together, as much as facilitate the services that we have. And it's always a learning curve, and it's about the community that you connect with. And so there's no strings attached with doing work with us. It's for us to learn from you guys. And then if we work in something together that would facilitate growth mutually, then we're in it for both of us, right? We align very much on that thought of like, we have to be on the same frequency. That's how I see it. I'm a yogi, and I'm like, I also teach yoga, and like I come from that background as well. So we truly just like are staying in the health and wellness and trying to support it as best as possible, because there's so many great resources out there and that align with the market, but accessibility or visibility is still a process, right? And like you said, AI is growing so fast that if you're not keeping up, you're like, wait.
Yeah.
At the end of the day,
So-
we go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna ask, like, you know, so what was your guys' vision for starting this?
I think our vision, and you know, something that we just kind of like, because I feel like you, for example, you as a business owner, you went and you risked it all for a vision that you and your partner had, right? And I think like it took the time that it took. Some things that are good take time to develop, and I think like you guys can see yourself from back in the day, and you can look back and be like, wow, like we were there and now we're here, right? And at the end of the day, I feel like the vision that we had is to establish something that we can help grow, and at the same time for us to grow within that partnership. So like learning from who we're working with, and at the same time facilitating something that can help our partnership grow with that person specifically. That's something that we're definitely looking into, and that we wanted to establish when we decided to start this.
Yeah, and also the same boat, just like financial freedom, autonomy in the work that we do, and just put energy towards things that we believe in, versus sitting in a structure that is, you know, given to us already that we can follow, but it doesn't work for everybody. And the reason we chose health and wellness, I have a big background in health and wellness. I went to school for dance and education, and he's an educator as well. He's an architect. And so like we meshed on the education realm, and we just decided like we want to be able, we're big techies, we're super into the realm. We have a really cool team. And so we're like, what realm would we love to know about and learn? Because there's so many layers to it, right? And connect with like-minded individuals that want to just give out good substance. Like we recently just sat with a Dr. Yuli, and he works like his frame on medicine is amazing. It's the same thought. It's like having integrity in the work that you're creating and accessibility. And it doesn't happen a lot in different industries. And how do you keep honesty and transparency and quality in the work that you're doing? So it's just fun to learn from you guys. Podcasts are it's so fun. And if we create a business and like a network that we can continue just growing together, giving good feedback loops out into the world, then heck, like that's kind of like why we're in it, you know?
Yeah, that's cool. So like from what I see, like the podcasts are kind of like multi-tool. Like there's the education, you guys are learning, you're networking, and then potentially like growing your own business as well.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool.
So
it's a really good idea.
So it's like we're trying to like talk to people like you, entrepreneurs, and then trying to see how we can learn from your business and how we can also help your business grow. Because at the end of the day, we with our business, we want to make other businesses grow, and we want and not just like work with anybody, but work with somebody that aligns with our.
On that,
and that's exactly what you said. We want to work with people that align with the same way that we think, which is like growth. You know, cutting steps, doing things the right way. Good things take time to develop, right? So it's not like you come in and you promise something immediately, right? And that's something that you like sit down, you work on it, you create a partnership, trust, which I think is super important, communication, and that's what we want to do. That's the type of business that we're trying to establish here. So.
And I think the podcast helps a lot because it gives people space, and hopefully the goal is, and when people can see this, they'll have the same drive to know that they can do the same thing. They learn from you guys that you built from a farmer's market all the way up, and hence the same for us. Like we built from a base and built to where we are, and everyone can be an entrepreneur and everyone can get to where they want to. There's just the 7 years of experience amidst it, right?
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's one of my like focuses right now is you mentioned like you teach yoga and stuff. I am also the COO of an energy healing business, so that is something that you know, I'm more of my time is actually focused on that right now. I don't have to actually be at my other business, which is amazing. But and I was there for many years doing all of the things. One of my focuses right now is like really, you know, there's so many people that want to start things and don't know how or don't feel like they can. And I mean, on one hand, it really is very simple. It just requires a lot of grit and like perseverance, but it's not actually that complicated. It's like always learn, never give up. You'll get there. You know?
Exactly.
Breathe in between.
Exactly. Learn to breathe and be present, and
exactly.
You can achieve whatever you want. So that's definitely something that I'm really, really, really passionate about.
Well, if there's any way that we can help you put together and facilitate that, if you were having students, if you are looking to build a course load, if, you know, whatever you have on your back end, definitely count on us. We'd love to sit and talk. It's like, especially just things that are so wholesome like this is as true as it gets. Like sometimes not everyone has grit, and I love that word. Sometimes we need someone to give us a little grit to like come along, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, 100%. Like if I didn't have Tyler, my partner, I mean, there were so many times I wanted to give up, you know, and he's like had a lot of grit in his life. So he was always the one to be like, no, we're going to keep going. Like, okay.
I can resonate. That's George for me. George is like, and I'm like, okay, pause. Give me a second.
Yeah.
That's very sweet. Thank you so much for sharing that. Nicole, honestly, such a pleasure to connect with you.